This Zoom meeting is a unique way of meeting and one that many of us are still trying to get used to. I hope that the day when we can meet in person is not too far away. But until then, this is the best way to follow the provincial health officer's directives and keep people safe. And while we still gather up information and answer your questions. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Karen Goodings. I am the Electoral Area Director for B, which includes Osborn. And joining me tonight for this Zoom meeting is Trish Morgan, General Manager of Community Services for the Peace River Regional District, and the Osborn Hall project falls under her portfolio. Tina and most of the society would be well aware of that because they've been dealing with Trish and Brenna, et cetera, for several months now. So we also have staff working behind the scenes to help keep our presentation running smoothly. And the virtual town hall meeting as effective as possible. They're going to help us with the technology and help us take the questions after the presentation. The agenda for tonight is brief. We're going to have Trish lead, and then we're going to follow with a question and answer period. And we're certainly looking forward to as many questions as we can get in and answering those questions as we can. So our goal for tonight, of course, is just to share the information about the proposed replacement project for the Osborn Hall Center, especially for those people who have not had an opportunity to review the information package that you received in the mail. And of course, we want to answer any questions that were not covered in that information package. Ultimately, we want you to have the information you need to make an informed decision on whether or not you want to support the proposed replacement project. We want to know your preferences for a new community hall if one is to be built. We want to know how many are using how many would be using the current facility if it was operating, and how you would like to use a new facility. So also just letting all of the participants know that you are muted except as we present. And then after the presentation, you can use the chat function to ask questions and make comments. And we'll do our best to answer them all. If we don't, if something happens that we get a number of questions and don't have time to answer them all, we'll certainly get back to you with the answers. I'm going to turn it over to Trish because I know she's ready to go. Trish, it's all yours.
Great, thank you, Director Goodings. And good evening, everyone. I think we also may have on the line with us, or he was going to phone in, was our project engineer, Mike Zagan from Force Engineering. And he is a local engineer who's based out of Dawson Creek and has done a lot of work throughout the whole region. So as Director Goodings has said, we're here tonight to begin the process of determining the future of the Osborn Community Hall. We'll begin with just a bit of history and background, and some of which is probably well known to longtime residents in the area, and probably most of you know far more history about the school and about the community center than we do. As you know, it was originally built as a school. It was decommissioned in 2005, and it was donated to the PRD by the school district. The regional district, we have an occupancy and use agreement with the Osborn Community Hall Society to operate the facility, and the regional district supports the facility and society with grants for capital projects and assists with insurance costs. In 2019, a facility condition assessment was completed on the facility. We also completed some on some other facilities throughout the region. And that assessment looked at the current condition and needed repairs to extend the life of the building. While some components of the building were found to be in good condition, many were in fair to poor condition, needing immediate replacement. It should be noted, for those who aren't aware, the facility hasn't been in use for a while. Previous to COVID, it wasn't being used maybe as much as it had been years prior, just because of some of those repairs that were needed to it. Oh, and I should mention, if you're following along in the information package, we'll try to let you know what page we're on in that information package so you can keep following along. We have added just a couple of slides this time that show, for those who are following along on Zoom, some of the conditions of the building itself. So here are a couple of photos that give you an idea of the facility's condition, and that overall it's in fair to poor condition. These are photos of the exterior wood siding, which is in need of immediate replacement, and that's estimated at a cost of about $30,000. The metal siding is also in need of replacement, and that's on another side of the building, and that is estimated at $25,000. In this picture here, there are pictures representative of the condition of the windows and doors. All the windows and doors, including the interior doors, are in need of replacement, and that is an estimated cost of about $24,000 just for those items. Here you can see the roof, gutters, and downspouts. Those, again, are in need of immediate replacement, and the estimated cost for that is $36,000. Here we have some photos of the interior partitions and walls that have suffered from some water damage. The engineers who looked at this facility said these repairs could be estimated at upwards of $70,000. And here on this next slide, we've got pictures of the kitchen and the furnaces. Now, the kitchen cabinets were replaced just a few years ago, and they're in beautiful condition. And the furnaces are still in very good condition because they're only a few years old. So those are things that may be able to be reused if a new facility is built. And so overall, the estimated cost to repair the facility was close to $500,000, coming in at $494,000 back in 2019. So it's important to note that this figure is estimated to be close to the possible replacement cost of a new facility if we were to build or bring in a modular facility, but a new modular facility. And that, of course, depends on the features that that new facility would contain. So we think it's fair to say that repairing the existing facility right now just isn't an option. It's also important to note that the Society they really have done a terrific job of maintaining this facility. As many of you know, it was not in great condition when they received it. And with limited funds and lots of elbow grease, they've done what they can to maintain it. And they've done a really good job. The fact is that portable buildings aren't meant to last as long as some other buildings, and it's really just reached the end of its life. So if you're following along in your information package, this would be on page 4. And we're going to give you just a few fast facts about the existing facility. So to our understanding, it was built on or near 1980. As we mentioned, it was a school for the Osborn community, and it's about 2,800 square feet. In terms of the layout, it has 3 main sections: the east portable, the west portable, and a connecting hallway. For utilities, it's heated by 2 recently upgraded forced air furnaces. The water is supplied via a cistern, and there's an electrical service that's 110, 200 volt single phase electrical service. There's a new main shutoff and breaker panel, but the assessment showed that the remainder of the electrical infrastructure is old and was in need of upgrades. The amenities in terms of the grounds includes a sports field and an ice rink, but the ice rink is also in need of repair. Some of the playground equipment was reviewed as well, and the assessment revealed that the older playground equipment was not safe, and so that was removed last fall. And that was done in consultation with the Society. So on page 5 of your information package, we'll move on to possible funding sources. So before we talk about what the community wants and getting your feedback about ideas and needs and that sort of thing, we'll talk just quickly about some possible funding sources. So the first 5 are fairly self-explanatory. There are internal grants from the Peace River Regional District, grants from federal and or provincial governments, corporate and community donations, and community fundraising. And these are all possible sources of funding for a new facility. And while COVID has had a tremendous and serious impact on all of us, the provincial and federal governments have been issuing a number of infrastructure grant programs, and the timing of this project may work well to apply for provincial and federal dollars over the coming months. And I can say that looking at some of those grants, they are very large funding pots of money that could look very positive for this project. Another source of funding is also local taxes. So how that works is if funding is required for a new facility, and say, for instance, money couldn't all be raised through grants and community fundraising, then we could establish a benefiting area. So this would be a geographic area where those residents and businesses included would agree to be taxed to pay for construction and maintenance of a new facility. If the engagement process we're beginning tonight indicates that the community is interested in funding the construction or the operations of the new facility, then the regional district could undertake an elector approval process like a referendum to establish a benefiting area, or sometimes we call them service areas. So that really brings us back to why we're here tonight. We need to determine the level of support for replacing the current facility, and then we need your input tonight and over the coming months to help us plan the best and most economical features for a new Osborn Community Hall. So looking on, we're going to skip ahead a page in your information package. On page 7, it talks about the timeline. So this is our rough timeline. Right now, we're in the visioning stage. The survey opened in January, and it's open until next Monday, February 15th. We'll compile the survey results and the inputs that we received tonight and provide all of that to our design team, which will come back with some options later in the spring. The next stage is in the narrow it down stage, which will take place from April to June. That's where we're going to ask you if we got it right in the visioning stage, and we'll present design options to the community along with some high-level cost estimates. We'll begin engaging with you on those options and costs, and there may be some modifications made during that stage based on your feedback. If we can get consensus on a design, then we can move forward with an updated and more refined cost estimate. And then in July, we'll be looking at funding options for that and looking at the final design stage. At that point, we'll compile our engagement results again, and in consultation with you, we'll consider funding options and present them back to you again. So this is a long-term project, and we're really excited to get it going tonight, and we really do need your assistance in getting through those stages. So again, this is a reminder, we would really like you to complete that survey that you received in January, and here's how you can do that. So you can complete the paper survey that was included in your information package and either drop it off at our office in Fort St. John next to the pool or mail it to us with the envelope that was provided. Alternatively, you can complete the survey online. So right now on your screen, there's 2 QR codes, and you can scan those codes with your phone. One of them will help you download a paper copy, and the other one will take you to an online link. Alternatively, you can also just go to our website and click on the Engage button and look for the proposed Osborn Community Hall project. So our survey closes on February 15th, so please take the time to complete it. The information we get from that survey should give us a much clearer picture of what spaces and uses the community prefer to see in a new facility, and how much or little the community is willing to pay for construction and ongoing operations and maintenance of the facility. And just before I hand it back over to Director Goodings, just a reminder, if you're accessing the meeting online, please use the chat function at the bottom of your screen to put in your questions. And those of you who are on the phone, please press *6 to unmute your phone and request to ask a question. So our moderators will be notified that you're there and you're waiting, and that's kind of like putting your hand up on the phone. When it's your turn to speak, the moderator will request that you unmute, and then you'll be able to ask your question, and then they'll mute you again. So we're going to begin the question and answer period, and I'll hand it back over to Director Goodings to start that.
Thanks, Trish. That was a good run through and very quickly and well done, and I'm sure there will be some questions. I do see the chat is lit up as though there were one person wishing to ask a question. I'm not sure if the moderator will look at that or if they want me to do it.
Hi, Director Goodings. So that was a staff chat, so we're good to go.
Okay. All righty. So for those that are on the phone, is there anybody at this point that has a comment or a question that they wish to pose? Okay, we have had some questions come in, and maybe I'll go back to staff. We'll start with the questions that have come to us already. Sure. Go ahead.
So, thank Thank you. So one of the questions that had previously been asked, what repairs are needed? So some of the big ticket items that would be required to repair the facility are the walls, the roof, windows, flooring, interior doors. And again, the cost of repairs is estimated about $494,000, and those are in 2019 dollars. And if anybody has been going to any of the construction supply places like Rona or Windsor Plywood, you'll know that the cost of materials has gone up quite a bit in the last little while. So while that was $494,000 in 2019, we estimate that it could be quite a bit higher at this point, or at least it would be higher.
Right. So thanks for that, Trish. So I think that's a really good question that somebody has put in for us to respond to. And certainly the response is pretty clear, although there are other ways possibly of coming up with what you want to see. If you want to see one, what size, what type of facility do you want? Do you want, like, is it a stick build? Is it something that we'll be bringing in? You know, there's all kinds of options yet that we've not really looked at. So I'm certainly looking at anybody with questions. Please don't hesitate. We did have a second question that came in that says, what would a new hall look like? Maybe we should go to that question. Trish?
All right. Yeah. Sorry, we were just advancing our information here.
Okay.
So what would a new hall look like? So that really is up to the community, and that's what our engagement process is designed to reveal. So preferences on what kind of spaces and uses people want, how big it might be, and so on. So that's why it's really important for us to understand how a new hall could be used, what kinds of activities were you using the previous hall, what worked, what didn't, and that sort of thing. And sometimes what we see is that we go through this process in the visioning stage, and then when we bring it back, you know, sometimes there's refinement and we go, oh, well, we missed this and that's important, or maybe this thing doesn't need to be as big, or it could be tweaked, that sort, and so on and so forth. But really what a new hall is going to look like, it's really going to depend on the feedback from the community and what your needs are.
Good answer. Okay, so next steps.
Next steps. So we outlined the 3 stages of the process earlier, but understand that the engagement process is not binding and there's no decisions that have been made. So the engagement process is designed to measure the interest from the community in a new facility, and if there is interest in that and how it might be funded. If the engagement processes we're beginning tonight indicate that the community is interested in funding the construction or operations of a facility, and if there is an appetite to fund it through taxation, then the PRD could undertake an elector approval process to establish a benefiting area or service area. And again, that would be that geographic area where residents and businesses included would agree to be taxed to pay for the construction and maintenance of it. The regional board would have to approve the bylaw for how those tax funds could be spent going forward. But again, at this time, too, as if we can get through that design stage, there are a lot of really positive opportunities to apply for some large infrastructure grant funding right now.
And I think maybe one of the things I'd like to just chirp in here for a minute and say, and that's certainly that the society, the Osborn Community Society, has been really active in helping us try to structure something to bring to you, the residents. And I certainly appreciate Tina and the whole crew and the help that they've given our staff in getting this prepared. So one of the next steps, and the question would be, what if I don't support a replacement? And how do we get that information?
Certainly. So, I mean, that is certainly a possibility. We would need community support for this project to move forward, and if that support is not there, then the project won't happen. But it's important to know that the facility really is at the end of its life, so it needs to be removed either way. And if there isn't support for a new community hall, perhaps there is support for revamping the ice rink or putting some work into a playground. So all those things are really important and valuable for us to know. How do you want to see this facility and grounds move forward or not move forward?
Still waiting to hear if there's any other questions that we haven't addressed at this point. Helena, have you got any comments or questions? No? Okay.
So just a reminder for those of you on the phone, it's *6 to unmute yourself.
And I guess the other thing I would want to find out from the community is whether or not they have received their package and the questionnaire or the the survey that was sent out. And if you've already sent it in, that's great. But if you haven't, we'd really appreciate having that feedback. We're not here to push this on the community. We're only here to help the community get what they want. I mean, really and truly, it's you who need the community center or would like to have a community center where you can have the odd meeting, or who knows what the future might bring. I've always really felt like Osborn was kind of left out in the cold when it comes to. So, there's a comment coming. Hello.
Hi. I just wanted to say that personally, I would like to see a hall. I think it really helps keep the community together. Pardon me?
Saturday morning, yeah.
Okay, Helena. Okay, Helena, did you have anything else to add to that? So I understand that you're saying.
I was just going to express my interest in having a hall. Also, I did not get my package yet, so I have not filled out the survey form, but I was going to pick it up tomorrow and just do it and drop it off.
Okay, because actually Monday is Family Day in BC, and so it makes it a little touch and go about getting your mail. Getting it in.
No, I was going to pick it up at the office and drop it back off there.
Good.
Because I think it's too late to wait for the mail.
Okay.
That was my plan. I called today and they said they still have a lot of packages. So
good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you have packages that you could even distribute if somebody else didn't get their package.
Oh, I could maybe call around and see or check to see if anybody else needs them.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
They did say they still had a whole stack of them.
Okay, and I heard voices in the background when Elena was expressing her opinion. Was there somebody else wishing to speak?
Can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I did pick up some extra forms already, and I have handed out quite a few more than because some of the residents, they have 2 or 3 mailboxes in one, and we have been getting some out already. So.
Okay, thanks, Tina.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good information to have. Were there other comments?
Just a question. So that means all the Osborn people have their package now?
Well, we're hoping that they have their package, but obviously if you didn't get yours, and maybe there are others in the same position, we don't want to leave anybody out.
Okay.
And maybe I can interject too that even though we've said the official closing date is February 15th, if surveys come in a little bit later in that week because they've been mailed in or dropped off, we're not going to cut them off. We're going to use that feedback for sure. So if people are running into issues and they haven't got their mail yet, certainly just contact us and we can send you out another one. We can email it to you, show you where to get it on the website, or have it printed off for you to pick up. We're pretty flexible that way. So anything we can do to help.
That's really good, Trish, because you know what? We get our mail 3 times a week out in the rural areas. Osborn Community actually has to go, I think, usually to Cecil Lake to get their mail. That's about a half-hour drive. on roads that aren't always very good to drive on. And so, you know, they don't rush to get their mail unless there's something that they're really looking forward to getting. At least that's kind of been what I feel. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody gets an equal opportunity to express their opinion and to get the information into us. And if we have to extend it by a week or 2 weeks, so be it.
Yeah, that's certainly not a problem.
I think extending it for a week would probably be a very good idea.
Thanks, Tina. You're breaking up a bit, but I think I heard you say that you think it would be good to extend it at least the 1 week.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, that's not going to
Helena, this is Mary speaking.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, and Helena, just to let Helena know, I did pick up a couple of packages for her, so I'll be dropping them off at her house tonight. So.
Wonderful. Okay. And is anybody else wishing to comment on the project itself or on the process or anything else that you want to talk about?
Well, I am, for one, we are, with my husband included, totally in support of getting a new facility put up and to be used as, getting community back together again and just connecting with community members.
It can certainly be a whole community hub. You know, it can be a place where you meet and you have a potluck supper. Oops, maybe you can't have potluck suppers anymore.
We will soon, yes.
Once we get this COVID thing under control, we'll be able to go back to doing things normally.
Yes, exactly right.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else? Please don't hesitate to state your concerns or your opinions.
My questions have all been answered already. I'm hoping that if there is other members, community people, that they will ask. I know there is concerns, but I don't know if they're all logged in or not.
Okay. Well, we'll certainly look for those responses to the survey.
Right. Yeah.
I'm hearing positive comments tonight. I mean, I haven't heard anybody negative about it. So, you know, I think there's room to look at a little bit further into what the community needs and wants for their community center.
Yes, I think the majority of the people love having a hall here, and they all miss it. I know that. Yeah, it will be nice to move forward to the next step and see what is in store for us.
Okay. All right. Back to staff. Did we have other questions that came in that we haven't talked about?
The chat line is clear, Director Giddings.
Okay. So nobody on the chat line though?
No further questions on the chat line.
No further questions. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I mean, I've always felt that if there aren't a lot of questions, then staff must have done a pretty darn good job of putting stuff together. So that at least you have a good idea of the condition of the present facility and the cost to repair it. And I think we all look at that and know that that's not likely the way to go. So, I mean, I think it's good that we hold this tonight. And even if we don't get a lot of comments tonight, I thank staff for putting the information together so well. And we look forward to the survey. I don't have anything else unless somebody else does. No, I mean, I'm not hearing much.
No,
So
I don't.
Go ahead, Trish.
No, I was going to say, I don't think we have anything more from our end either.
Okay. Well, then I'm just going to
really appreciate.
Go ahead, Tina.
It was Mary. I said we really appreciate you guys putting this together for us and giving us all this information. We thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. I think I can say that for staff. They've done all the work. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to say thanks for taking time out of your evening to participate tonight, and please urge everybody to fill out that survey. Don't be too concerned about the deadline of the 15th. We're certainly open to extending that, and we look forward to working with the community to make your community a better place to live, because that's what it's all about. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for everything.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Good night.